Hey, and welcome back to Gillis TV. Last night, the Oilers played the Buffalo Sabres, and that was a game they wanted to win after the previous matchup against them didn't go the Oilers' way. And you know what? At the start of the game, it seemed like the Oilers were doomed for a bit. Being in Dolany TV stream, everyone was like, oh, the Oilers are done, blah, blah, blah. But of course, the third period team of the Edmonton Oilers found the back of the net 5 times, Connor Brown scoring a goal. And what about Mattias Ekholm? Leading the league in plus-minus since being traded to the Oilers, having 2 goals and assists last night for the first star. And what can we say about him? That was probably one, if not the best pickups by Ken Holland. And now we are going to go talk about his best and worst signings/trades as his tenure as GM of the Edmonton Oilers, as that more than likely is coming to an end this summer as he signed a 5-year deal and it sounds like he's not coming back. But before we get started, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more Oilers, NHL, or MLB news here on the channel. We are 222 subs away from our goal of 1,000 subscribers. Thank you guys for all the support. Now, like I said, Mattias Ekholm, on the list of kind of what I've gone through for Ken Holland's tenure, it's right up there. There is 2 trades and a signing that I believe that kind of puts the top 3 for Ken Holland, and they can be interchangeable the way you want. And we're going to start with Zach Hyman. I think that was the best move Ken Holland did for this Edmonton Oilers organization. And the way Zach Hyman wanted to come here for, I believe it was 7 years at $5.5 million, Zach Hyman could score 50 easily against his former team, the Toronto Maple Leafs, Saturday night. I'm kind of hoping for that, knock on wood it happens. But I believe that was one of the 3 that we're going to talk about could be Ken Holland's top moments of being a GM with the Edmonton Oilers. Because Zach Hyman I call him the modern day Ryan Smith. I really do. Hard, physical, plays in front of the net. He is the modern day Ryan Smith of the Edmonton Oilers. And we love to see it. Of course, he still has, I believe, 5 more years left of Zach Hyman. We got it. Now we're going to go to the trade side of things here. And like I said, the Mattias Ekholm trade, that was one trade that, rocked the NHL world for a bit because no one thought Mattias Ekholm was even available. The Oilers went off on a limb and went and got Mattias Ekholm, and what can we say? 2 goals and assists last night, best plus-minus since that trade in the NHL, and honestly, he's helping Bouchard on the ice defensively, being that stay-at-home defenseman that is putting up the points not what Tyson Barrie did, but he is doing some of what Tyson Barrie did, and I think it helps when you're playing with Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, and them. But Mattias Ekholm has really stepped up. He said he loves being in Edmonton, loves the snow and the cold winters from being in Sweden. He loves playing in Edmonton. That trade was Ekholm at 4% retained and a 6th-round pick for Tyson Barrie, Reed Schaefer, a 2023 first, which Nashville took Tanner Malindick, and a 2024 4th-round pick. And the Oilers gained, $1.5 million salary cap, but that has to be one of the top 3 trades. And the third one I'm going to talk about, and I know this might get kind of, backlash for it. I just got to find it here. It was the Duncan Keith trade. As much as people don't realize how much that helped Evan Bouchard, Duncan Keith really took Evan Bouchard under his wing and taught him how to become a better defender, how to use his shot more, and whatnot. And honestly, we got Duncan Keith. Yeah, the salary cap was kind of rough there. But Tim Sutherland came over. We gave up only Caleb Jones and a 2022 3rd-round pick where they took Jeremy Langnos. And it was a condition that if the Oilers make the Stanley Cup Finals and Keith is top 4 in playoff time on ice on Oilers defensemen during the first 3 rounds, it would upgrade to a 2022 2nd-round pick. It didn't, but Duncan Keith was a mentor for the whole Oilers group. When it came to Connor McDavid, when it came to Darnell Nurse, Leon Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins, Duncan Keith, just his overall presence and his knowledge. He's a Stanley Cup winner. It really helped the Edmonton Oilers in that sense. And you know what? I'll do that any day. Now, kind of mediocre trade here that I kind of look at, and that was, there's two of them that kind of wouldn't be top 5, but aren't worse, aren't the best. And it was when the Oilers traded their first round pick to Minnesota, which was 20th overall, for Minnesota's first round, which was 22nd, and got a third round pick out of it. Minnesota took Jesper Wallstedt, who is a solid goalie, could be on the rise here in Minnesota after Fleury leaves. But the Oilers got Xavier Bourgault and Luka Musenberger, and both of those guys are playing decent where they are. And to get 2 players instead of 1, you knew you had Rodrigue, you knew you had Stuart Skinner at that point. It was more of the time that they weren't going to do that. And then the other trade was Ethan Bear for Warren Fogel's rights. Warren Foegele, he goes hot, he goes cold, but lately he's been on a streaky tear, and Warren Foegele setting career highs and whatnot there. Now, the one trade that I probably would like to see reversed, I'm just going to try and find it here quickly, was this one here. Sam Gagner, a 2020 second round pick, and a 2021 second round pick to Detroit for Andres Anthony and Ryan Comfort. I would like to see that return because, let's face it, Andreas Anthony didn't do anything for them in Edmonton Oilers. It was one of those situations where they were trying to get speed for McDavid. They were trying to upgrade, and I don't think it was an upgrade. And you sent Sam Gagner with 10% retained. And looking back at those picks, not saying the Edmonton Oilers would have chose these guys, but with that 2020 second round pick, Brock Faber was taken, who is in Minnesota playing really good for the Minnesota Wild, is I believe top 3 in rookie scoring right now, and he's a defenseman. And the 2021 second round pick was Atu Ratti, another guy that might be in the NHL sooner than later and has a really good upside. So when it comes to that trade, I have to say that's probably one, if not the worst trade of Ken Holland's tenure here. The other one, of course, it came down to John Moreno not wanting to be an Edmonton Oiler. They traded him for a 6th round pick, the signing rights. They took Shane LaChance with that pick, but John Moreno's turned out to be a decent NHL defenseman, and that's one where it kind of stings a bit. But again, that's one that a player did not want to play for the Edmonton Oilers. And then you got the Lucic for Neal trade, which I guess we're still paying James Neal, though, so I guess it didn't work out in favor of the Edmonton Oilers. But either way, I believe Lucic was going to get bought out at that point. There are more trades, apparently, that I didn't see down here. Gustav Nyquist, okay, so that's all Detroit at that point. So, yeah, so his tenure of trading with teams were kind of good. And you could say the Adam Henrique deal is kind of up there because the way Henrique and Sam Carrick has both brought in some toughness, some more what the Oilers need this round, or for this playoffs was good. You could say the Nick Bukestad is another good trade. Wouldn't say it's top 3. I think Hyman, Ekholm, and Keith were the top 3 trades of his tenure as an Edmonton Oiler. Now we go to the signings. Getting Nuge at 5.125 for 8 years was really good, I believe. Evander Kane, getting him for 4 more years. Didn't have to give up assets for him or Corey Perry, who Corey Perry's been actually, for a third-line player now in his career, he's still performing the way we want. And then, of course, the controversial contract of Darnell Nurse, which at the time, I will agree with mostly everyone, it was a bad cap hit for at the time. I do believe Darnell Nurse is coming around. Is it still 9.25? You're probably still in the high 7s to low 8s, but he is coming around as a solid defenseman for the Edmonton Oilers. Another bad one, a lot of people, more than likely 80% will say, is Jack Campbell. That was kind of a move that we need a goalie now. There's only so few goalie markets available. It was up to basically Kemper and Campbell were the best goaltending options available at that time. and both aren't really performing on what they got with their money. I think Kemper's still in the NHL, but seriously, he's not performing the way Washington wanted. And then so on and so forth. Like I said, Corey Perry getting signed. But that's kind of the moves that you look at and say, he did good for the salary cap room. Giving up assets. He didn't really give up a lot early on in his time with the Edmonton Oilers, but lately it seemed kind of they're all in on winning the cup now, and Ken Holland's leaving them with that. Of course, he leaves without the next GM having a first-round draft pick in this year's draft, but for Adam Henrique and Sam Carrick to try and push our way to be even better than Vegas, having those 3-4 lines rolling. I say 3 lines because those are the main 3 lines that you're going to need to get goals from, need to buckle down defensively on. I believe Ken Holland's time with the Edmonton Oilers has been decent. Like I said, those trades, there were some other trades that were iffy and whatnot, but that is pretty much it for me today. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, because I do believe Hyman, Ekholm, and Duncan Keith, as much as a lot of people didn't like Duncan Keith's trade at the time, he was a mentor for this group. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Gillis TV. You guys have a great rest of your day. Have a good one.